Yo guys, I'm to Crime and today we're gonna dive into the last episode of our series and I just wanna say thank you for just clicking on the video and just you know making me keep going and wanna do more of this stuff and just being there is a lot for me. So just enjoy this video and I'll see you next time.
The next day, she wrote to the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, Sir Paul Stevenson, to say that Portuguese police had agreed to cooperate with a British inquiry. Within 24 hours, Cameron made the announcement about Operation Grange, to be financed by a Home Office contingency fund. Operation Grange was led by Commander Simon Foy. Detective Chief Inspector Andy Redwood of Scotland Yard's Homicide and Serious Crime Command was the first senior investigating officer, reporting to Detective Chief Superintendent Hamish Campbell. The team consisted of 3 detective inspectors, 5 detective sergeants, 19 detective constables, and around 6 civilian staff. By July 2013, the review had become an investigation. When Redwood retired in 2014, he was replaced by DCI Nicola Wall. The team had tens of thousands of documents translated, released in age-progressed image, and investigated over 8,000 potential sightings. By 2015, they had taken 1,338 statements, collected 1,027 exhibits, and investigated 650 sex offenders and 60 persons of interest. The inquiry was scaled back in October 2015, and the number of officers reduced to 4. The Home Secretary approved an additional £95,000 of funding in April 2016 for what the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, Sir Bernard Hogan Howe, said was one remaining line of inquiry. Another £85,000 was approved to cover up to September 2017 and £150,000 to cover until 31st March 2019, taking the cost of the inquiry to £11.75 million. The Home Office said it would approve similar funding for 2019. In September 2018, the Home Office announced, "We have received and are considering a request from the Metropolitan Police Service to extend funding for Operation Grange until the end of March 2019. Up to that month, Operation Grange had cost £11.6 million. In November 2018, an extra £150,000 is granted to continue the investigation, the latest in a series of 6-month extensions, which took the cost of Operation Grange to an estimated £11.75 million. June 2019, the British government said it would fund Operation Grange until March 2020. Theories: planned abduction, burglary, wandered off. DCI Redwood made clear that Operation Grange was looking at a criminal act by a stranger, most likely a planned abduction or a burglary that Madeleine had disturbed. There had been a 4-fold increase in local burglaries between January and May 2007, including 2 in the McCann's block in the 17 days before the disappearance, during which intruders had entered through windows. In an interview in April 2017, just before the 10th anniversary of the disappearance, Scotland Yard's Assistant Commissioner, Mark Rowley, appeared to dismiss the burglary hypothesis, while adding that it was not entirely ruled out. Referring to the suspects who might have been involved in burglaries in the area, he said that police had pretty much closed off that group of people. The remaining detectives were focusing on a small number of inquiries that they believed were significant. Also that month, there were claims that Scotland Yard was looking for a woman seen near 5A at the time of the disappearance. Redwood said in 2013 that, on one reading of the evidence, the disappearance did look like a pre-planned abduction, which undoubtedly would have involved reconnaissance. Several witnesses described men hanging around near apartment 5A in the days before the disappearance and on the day itself. In May 2013, Scotland Yard wanted to trace 12 manual workers who were at the Ocean Club when Madeleine disappeared, including 6 British cleaners in a white van who were offering their services to British expats. In October 2013, Scotland Yard and Crime Watch staged a reconstruction, broadcast in the UK, the Netherlands, and Germany, during which they released e-fits of the men seen near 5A and of the Smith sighting. Days after Crime Watch aired, Portugal's Attorney General reopened the Portuguese inquiry, citing new evidence. Another theory is that Madeleine, nearly 4 at the time, left the apartment by herself, perhaps to look for her parents, and was abducted by a passerby or fell into one of the open construction sites nearby. This is widely regarded as unlikely. According to her mother, Madeleine would have had to open the unlocked patio doors, close the curtains behind her, close the door again, open and close the child gate at the top of the stairs, then open and close the gate leading to the street. Tracking mobile phone calls. Using mobile phone tracking techniques and with the cooperation of over 30 countries, police traced who had used cell phones near the scene of Madeleine's disappearance within the important time frame. The analysis turned up several calls and texts near the Ocean Club between a 30-year-old former Ocean Club bus driver and his 24-year-old and 53-year-old associates. Detectives interviewed them in June 2014. They denied any connection to the disappearance. Police also found that Euclides Montero's cell phone, used by a former Ocean Club restaurant worker who had previously been fired for theft, had been used near the resort that night. Originally from Cape Verde, Montero died in 2009 in a tractor accident. The suspicion was that he had been breaking into apartments to finance a drug habit. His widow said he had been questioned previously about break-ins involving the sexual assault of children, but had been cleared by DNA evidence. Holiday Home Sexual Assault Scotland Yard issued another appeal in March 2014 for information about a man who had entered holiday homes occupied by British families in 4 incidents in the western region of Algarve between 2004 and 2006, 2 of them in Praia da Luz. On those occasions, he had sexually assaulted 5 girls, aged 7 to 10, in their beds. The man spoke English with a foreign accent, and his speech was slow and perhaps slurred. He had short, dark, unkempt hair, tanned skin, and in the view of 3 victims, a distinctive smell. He may have worn a long-sleeve burgundy top, perhaps with a white circle on the back. These were among 12 incidents reported in the area between 2004 and 2010. The PJ reportedly believed the intruder in the 4 incidents between 2004 and 2006 was Montero. Searches and interviews in Praia da Luz. In June 2014, officers from Scotland Yard and the PJ, accompanied by archaeologists and sniffer dogs, searched drains and dug in 60,000 square meters, 15 acres of wasteland in Praia da Luz. Nothing was found. The following month, at Scotland Yard's request, the PJ and Faro interviewed 4 Portuguese citizens, with Scotland Yard in attendance. No evidence was found to implicate them. One man, an associate of Robert Murat, was first questioned shortly after the disappearance. Pedro do Carmo, deputy director of the PJ, told the BBC that the interviews had been conducted only because Scotland Yard had requested them. 11 people, including 3 Britons, were interviewed in December 2014. According to Portuguese media, Scotland Yard compiled 253 questions for the interviewees, including, "Did you kill Madeleine?" and "Where did you hide the body?" Robert Murat, his wife, and her ex-husband were questioned, as were the former Ocean Club bus driver and his 2 associates who had telephoned or texted each other near the Ocean Club around the time of the disappearance. They admitted to having broken into Ocean Club apartments, but denied having taken Madeleine. German investigations in 2020. In June 2020, German prosecutors stated that they had concrete evidence that Christian Bruckner killed McCann. However, formal charges against Bruckner by the court in Brunswick have been delayed due to confusion over where his last address in Germany was, and thus which German court is responsible for the trial. Bruckner has previously been convicted of unrelated counts of child sexual abuse and drug trafficking, and has since 2019 served a prison sentence in Germany for raping a 72-year-old American pensioner in the Algarve region. He is scheduled for release in September 2025. He was tried in 2024 for 5 unrelated sexual offenses committed in Portugal between 2000 and 2017, and acquitted of those charges by a court in Brunswick on 8 October 2024. On 22 April 2022, Bruckner was given arguido status by the Portuguese authorities, meaning they could extradite him to Portugal for formal questioning. Bruckner, who is believed to have been living in a borrowed VW camper van in the Algarve region at the time of Madeleine's disappearance, was ordered to be investigated regarding possible involvement by the public prosecutor in the Braunschweig court. The German Federal Criminal Police Office made a public appeal for information relating to the McCann case on Aktenzeichen XY Ungelöst, a crime program broadcast by the public television station ZDF. German police stated that they received useful information in 2013 after the case was first featured on Aktenzeichen XY, but that it took years to find substantial evidence for prosecution and that they still need more information. The prosecutors asked the public for information about Bruckner's phone number and a number that had dialed him on the day of the disappearance, with which Bruckner's number had a 30-minute connection. A British woman, who had been Bruckner's girlfriend at the time, reported that the night before the abduction he had told her, "I have a job to do in Praia da Luz tomorrow. It's a horrible job, but it's something I have to do, and it will change my life. You won't be seeing me for a while." Bruckner's car, a Jaguar XJR6, was registered to a new owner the day after Madeleine disappeared. Hans Christian Wolters from the public prosecutor's office stated that they were starting proceedings under the presumption that Madeleine was dead due to Bruckner's criminal record. On 27th of July 2020, German police began searching an allotment in Hanover in connection with the investigation. In October 2021, the Mirror reported that Wolters had become convinced that Bruckner abducted and murdered Madeleine. From 23rd to 25th May 2023, Portuguese, German, and British police conducted a search of an area just over a 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers long for possible evidence in the case. The area was on a peninsula near the Arade Dam in the city of Silve, about 31 miles, 50 kilometers from where McCann was last seen on the 3rd of May, 2007. Previously, a child's sock had been found in the searched area in 2008. The search was upon request from Wolters with support from the German Federal Criminal Police Office, BKA, and coordinated by the Deputy Director of Policia Judiciaria's Northern Directorate. According to cell phone geolocating, the cell phone of Bruckner was near McCann within 5 minutes of her disappearance. German investigators believe it to be possible that Bruckner killed McCann around the dam and threw her into the water. Other inquiries. In the early days of the inquiry, Portuguese police searched through images seized from pedophile investigations, and Madeleine's parents were shown photographs of sex offenders in case they recognized them from Praia da Luz. Several British pedophiles were of interest. In May 2009, investigators working for the McCanns tried to question one, Raymond Hewlett. He had allegedly told someone he knew what happened to Madeleine, but he retracted his statement and died of cancer in Germany in December of that year. Scotland Yard made inquiries about 2 pedophiles who had been in jail in Scotland for murder since 2010. The men had been running a window cleaning service in the Canary Islands when Madeleine went missing. A man from Northern Ireland who died in 2013 was discussed in the media in connection with the disappearance. After being released from prison for the sexual assault of his 4 daughters, he had moved to the Portuguese town of Carveiro, approximately 40 kilometers, 25 miles from Praia da Luz. He was there when Madeleine went missing. Another focus of Operation Grange was Urs Hans von Aisch, a deceased Swiss man implicated in the 2007 murder in Switzerland of 5-year-old Elenia Lenhard. Elenia disappeared on 31st July 2007, nearly 3 months after Madeleine, and was found dead in September as a result of toluene poisoning. Von Aisch was living in Spain when Madeleine disappeared. In June 2016, Operation Grange officers interviewed an alleged victim of the deceased broadcaster, Clement Freud, who was accused that year of having a history of child sexual abuse. Freud had had a home in Praia da Luz and had befriended the McCanns in July 2007, several weeks after the disappearance. Freud's family said he had been in the UK when Madeleine went missing. Eilis O'Hanlon wrote that the disappearance could almost stand as a metaphor for the rise of social media as the predominant mode of public discourse. Twitter, 1 year old when Madeleine McCann went missing, became the source of much of the vitriol. 10 years later, the McCann hashtag was still producing over 100 tweets an hour, according to researchers at the University of Huddersfield. Social media attacks included a threat to kidnap one of the McCann's twins, and when Scotland Yard and Crime Watch staged their reconstruction in 2013, there was talk of phoning in with false information to sabotage the appeal. One man who ran an anti-McCann website received a 3-month suspended sentence in 2013 after leafleting their village with his allegations. The following year, a Twitter user was found dead from a helium overdose after Sky News confronted her about her 400 anti-McCann tweets. At first, the couple's status as photogenic, articulate, and professional was beneficial. Offers of help came in from across the United Kingdom, including 10 Downing Street. The McCanns took full advantage of the interest by hiring public relations consultants and offering regular events to sustain media interest. However, the frenzy eventually turned against the couple, and there began what PR consultant Michael Cole called the monstering of the McCanns. They were harshly criticized for having left their children alone in an unlocked apartment, despite the availability of Ocean Club babysitters and a creche. The argument ran that a working-class couple would have faced child abandonment charges. 17,000 people signed an online petition in June 2007 asking Leicestershire Social Services to investigate how the children came to be left unattended. Kate's appearance and demeanor were widely discussed, with much of the commentary coming from other women, including Booker Prize winner Anne Enright in the London Review of Books. Kate was deemed cold and controlled, too attractive, too thin, too well-dressed, or too intense. She had been advised by abduction experts not to cry on camera because the kidnapper might enjoy her distress, and this led to more criticism. The Portuguese tabloid Correio da Manhã cited sources complaining that she had not shed a single tear. Journalism professor Nicola Gauck argued that Kate had joined a long list of mothers deemed killers because of unacceptable maternal behavior. Commentators compared her experience to that of Lindy Chamberlain, convicted of murder after her baby was killed by a dingo. Like Kate, she was suspected in part because she had not wept in public. There was even a similar false story about supposedly relevant Bible passages the women were said to have highlighted. Chamberlain asked, "How can you apologize to me and do this again to someone else?" In November 2011, the McCanns testified before the Leveson Inquiry into British press standards. The inquiry heard that Peter Hill, the editor of the Daily Express in particular, had become obsessed with the couple. Express headlines included that Madeleine McCann had been killed by sleeping pills, "Find body or McCann's will escape," and "McCann's or a friend must be to blame," the latter based on an interview with a waiter. Maddie Sold by Hard Up McCann's ran a headline in the Daily Star, part of the Express Group. Lord Justice Leveson called the articles complete piffle. Roy Greenslade described them as no journalistic accident, but a sustained campaign of vitriol against a grief-stricken family. Libel actions. In addition to their legal efforts against Gonzalo Amaral and his publisher, the McCanns and Tapas 7 brought libel actions against several newspapers. The Daily Express, Daily Star, and their sister Sunday papers, owned by Northern and Shell, published front-page apologies in 2008 and donated £550,000 to Madeleine's fund. The Tapas 7 were awarded £375,000 against the Express Group, also donated to Madeleine's fund, along with an apology in the Daily Express. The McCanns received £55,000 from the Sunday Times in 2013 when the newspaper implied that they had withheld e-fits from the police. Robert Murat received £600,000 in out-of-court settlements for libel, about 100 articles published by 11 newspapers: The Sun and News of the World, News International, Daily Express, Sunday Express, and Daily Star, Northern and Shell, London Evening Standard, Daily Mail and Metro, Associated Newspapers, Daily Mirror, Sunday Mirror, and Daily Record. Mirror Group newspapers. According to The Observer, it was the largest number of separate libel actions brought in the UK by the same person about one issue. His two associates were each awarded $100,000 and all three received public apologies. The British Sky Broadcasting Group, which owns Sky News, paid Murat undisclosed damages in 2008 and agreed that Sky News would host an apology on its website for 12 months. Netflix has made a documentary about it, but the McCanns do not support it and encourage others to not take part in it. If you want to watch it, you can find it after the name, The Disappearance of Madeleine McCann. This is the end, so if you guys want a video about another person who disappeared And if you want it to be very long, comment banana, or if you want a video about a murder, comment jumper. I know I took a long to make these videos, but everyone starts from somewhere, and I will try harder and harder by the day. Thank you for your time. See you in a week.
Well, I forgot to have the AI2 voiceovers that I edit the videos and all the things that I got from the AI. I did not make the photos or videos. Suggest how to do my videos better by just making them myself. And see you next week with a new crime or disappearance. Thank you. Sorry for my bad accent.